Welcome to the sixth and final webinar in our free webinar series, Activating Your Bravery. It is of the same name. This webinar is called Activating Your Bravery, and it's brought to you by The Chase. We are definitely in a time where what we have been studying for the last 4 years is super relevant. We can't stop hearing from people about what they think what we think they should do given all of these new fears. If you've been on these webinars before, you know I talk fast, and you know I'm serious about this work. We have spent 4 years studying fear. We are really, really, really acutely positioned to give good advice, and none of that is going to be held back today in this very important final piece of this webinar series. Again, The Chase is an 8-week online course. We want all of you to join us in that community to activate your bravery in this brand new novel situation that we're in, to find and set new goals and to maximize all of who we are to go after what it is that we want. We are now all in some sort of transition, and our whole feeling around that transition, especially when we have this shared experience of pervasive fear, is to get in community together and control the things that we can. Let us do this, but let's first talk about some logistics. If you're new to Zoom or unfamiliar, you want to make sure that you are opening your chat. And if you want to participate in the chat, we highly recommend it to share ideas and to be engaging in the community that you've shown up in today. You want to move that little blue button down there that says to all panelists and attendees when you're in your chats. Its default is all panelists, so put it in all panelists and attendees. And if you want to participate publicly within the chat of everybody who's on here, but you also want to send us a private question, then you can press Q&A in your dashboard bar, and that will allow you to send us a question specifically to the Brave team who's running this webinar. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Without further ado, let's get to it. We are talking about activating bravery. No more time is relevant for this stuff than now. Hi, Molly from North Carolina. Definitely go in there and say where you're from, who you are, what you're pumped about today, and how you are activating your bravery where you are. You can follow us at Get More Brave. We're about to go nuts with a ton more content to make this stuff really available. If we know and see the interest in these topics over the last week, it was a very different week or very different time a week ago, particularly last Wednesday. I remember doing that webinar on the road after or before we had done a big session with a group of people. That may not happen for a while. So how do we still continue to activate our bravery when using online, incredible technological tools? In any case, for free and easy access at Get More Brave on Instagram, on Facebook, and you can find our YouTube channel. We'll be releasing a ton more content. Let's talk about definitions here. We start almost every webinar with this. What is bravery? It is taking action in the face of fear. That is it. Fear is critical. So because we are all experiencing fear, this is a huge opportunity to be brave, to act bravely. It was really hard for us for a while to sell the concept of bravery as a valuable currency, because for some people, they're like, I haven't had to use bravery in my life. Now you have to use it. We like to say that fear is a siren, fear is an alarm, fear is a cue for you to be brave. And this is like critical times right now. We want to get you in those times and in those actions. Fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous. That is the definition of fear, right? But fear, right, it's so ominous, even just like describing what it is. And yet still, we must reframe this as our cue, as our call to action, right? And that means we're not saying things like, I'm going to be fearless. And I know this is a place where people mean to say fearless as a definition of bravery, like she's bold, she's fearless. Stop, because language is really important, especially in this time. There is no good advice coming when it is driven by the idea that you should squash your fear, that you should ignore your fear, that you should like somehow put your fear aside, and that somehow you can change your fear. Fear is the basis of how we have survived as a species. We need to use that resource. We need to use that energy. We need to use that intuitive feeling to make sure it drives us to action, not go against our nature. To that extent, we're going to start with our version of power posing, right? We are going to power pose and get ready to activate our bravery. And that is sometimes just in taking a deep breath. But because we're not using that word fearless, we mean that to say, like, we are not going to turn away from our fear. We are absolutely going to turn around and face it, because the charging bull is looking right at us with smoke coming out of its nostrils, and it's going to charge no matter what. So we are going to take the advice of our webinar yesterday. We're going to vowel it out, AEIOU. That's our conversion formula for turning fear into fuel. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge the feelings of fear. Engage with those feelings. You can get specific and identify your fear exactly, and then you can own it as your own despite it being shared by others. Fear is personal. It must be owned as yours so that you can use it. The 30,000-foot view of that AEIOU process is exactly as I explained in the beginning, which is fear as a cue. Fear as a cue. What are you afraid of? Once you've done the hard work of acknowledging and engaging so that you can identify it, you name your fear and you come up with one way to take brave action. And that is in itself just confronting your fears. Sometimes it's even asking the deep questions. We're going to talk about how you can make a plan to do this. Now, among these COVID-19 times, coronavirus times, we have really quick tips to help you manage this. And we'll be talking about both of these today. A sense of control. How do you get a sense of control? In order to activate bravery right now, you've got to control what you can. And that's why we're going to start with goals. And the second thing is to be able to get in community. And of course, we want to offer that community to you in the form of the Chase, our 8-week online course. Activating bravery. So 3 general categories of this are insight, mindset, and action. We're not going to make this too complicated. Insight, mindset, and then action, right? Basically mining for information, like getting this all straight in here, which is really hard. It's a big, long step. And then action, taking action on your plan. Let's talk about insight. Who am I? What do I want? Who am I? What do I want? There's 70,000 more questions we could put in this category, but let's raise it to the top, to the most important thing. Who are you? And what do you want? With every single fear, you've got to be thinking of yourself in that. In order to mobilize all of who you are to go after what you want, you've got to ask deeper and deeper questions. You've got to get more specific. Mindset. Why is what I want important to me? Why is what I want important to me? And how do I prepare for the fears and the obstacles and the setbacks that I am going to experience? Not that I might, or that I hope I don't, or that I stay small in order to avoid. No. When you are going after something big, when you are setting goals, when you are activating bravery, right, you have to know what it is that you're scared of and the obstacles you will encounter. This is a part of troubleshooting. And finally, action. How are you going to map, and what are you going to do to move? Map and move. Map and move. And in this day and age, in our discussion in converting fear to fuel, we have a fear of uncertainty, right? We can't just make one plan. We got to make multiple plans, right? So you may have multiple maps here based on your contextual awareness of what is happening in the moment as it unfolds every day. And you can then be agile and apply your moves to the map you're currently following. For any of you perfectionists out there, this is a huge opportunity to be released from your need to do the perfect thing, right? It is time for quick action. And those of us who get paused or paralyzed or stuck in the mud or foggy by fear, this is our time to practice. Here we go. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Brave Mindset Sandwich. So we teach something called a Brave Mindset, which is moving in your fear. But I'm going to summarize it for you here with the most important ingredients. The top is purpose. That is why is this important to me. Curiosity is what will happen if I try this. You're sandwiching this like the top and the bottom buns, and you're squeezing on a brave practice. These are the 3 critical elements of how to get more brave based on our 4 years worth of research, worth of implementation, worth of impact programming and measurement. The first is honesty with yourself, right? This is part of that insight piece. You want to be asking yourself really deep questions. You want to be reflecting on a ton of stuff. You want to be getting to the source of things. And as we prepare to do the chase, we give you, that's right, this many pages worth of journals. Now, every one of these represents 2 different pages of journals, but you are churning up things every day. Again, it's an opportunity over the next 2 weeks to 2 months, to however long it's going to take for us to stomp this virus out of our systems here. It's going to take that amount of time, and you have that amount of time to give yourself the opportunity to figure out all the stuff that's happening inside. Taking brave action is a part of your bravery practice. So taking any action outside of your comfort zone. Maybe being on this webinar is outside of your comfort zone. Maybe you didn't think you'd be doing a lot of this getting in community in this online space. That obstacle is being overcome by everyone now, and now online is the place to be able to have the human connection that we need. So kudos to you if you're new to this online space. But taking brave action outside of your comfort zone, asking to communicate with people online now that you might not have before, seeking information that otherwise may have made you feel uncomfortable, doing activities in your home that are outside of your comfort zone. And even though we are remote, the third and very important piece, one of the 3 ways to get more brave is witnessing brave action, that you still have your eyes up and out and you're looking for stories that make you feel like you can be braver, that empower you. And I don't like to get stuck into self-helpy words, but this is self-help. This is self-investment. This is our version of self-care, which has to look very different in this time now. We can't just sit and indulge. We've got to get after stuff that is going to fill us, particularly with the constraints we have now. Now, how are we going to do this? We're going to actually look at some goal setting science here, but we're going to start a rumor. Haha, this is because we call this gossip. This is how you're going to workshop a goal. And it does take you to be brave from the outset to establish what we call a brave goal. Something that you know makes you scared. Something that seems a little audacious to pursue, and something that you're looking to pursue over the course of the next 2 to 3 months. We cannot make this stuff up. We have been doing this for 4 years, and now is the time to activate this in such a way that it can redefine what this virus and situation means for you in your world and in your future. First, you're going to come up with a goal. Come up with a brave goal, even if the goal is to get through the end of the day, even if the goal is to figure out what my kids are going to do while I'm on this Zoom call, is to figure out how I'm going to get them exercise if we're not allowed to go outside, right? Whatever your goal is to give value in my job every day to give myself the best chance of retaining it. My goal is to figure out another way that I can make money in the event that I don't get to retain my job. Right? So a goal, something you can control going after, something that is bold and in front of you, something that gets your passion gears turning because it's interesting to you. It has purpose, which we'll get to in a second. You want to be looking at the obstacles that you're going to encounter, that you're going to encounter. This isn't about avoidance now. This is about like turning around and looking at that charging bull and saying like, what is this going to look like to battle this fear, to go after this goal? You're looking at solutions, right? You have those obstacles, come up with a solution, pre-troubleshoot. And if you want to get really gnarly in there, come up with a bunch of different obstacles. You can even break down your goal into a couple of different steps, and obstacles for every step, and solutions for every obstacle of every step. Self-talk. For every step, what are you going to need to be doing in order to be creating an inner cheerleader? Somebody who is cheering for you, is saying you can do this. It's gonna be hard. I know it's hard. You know, my kids every day. I'm like, okay, clean up the toys you just got out. They just played with them for like 10 minutes. There are 70,000 pieces all over the room. And they're like, I can't clean them up. It's too hard. And you know what I say? Not that it's not too hard. Yeah, it's hard. And we're going to do it anyway. Somehow it's going to get clean. We have to figure that pathway out. This is part of that. And once I get them thinking, I can do it, you can do it, we can all do it. You can tell yourself inside. They start to sing. They start to say, I can do it. I can do it. They start to pick up the pieces while they're positive and they're putting it in the bin. And now they have this accomplishment momentum, right? Self-talk has to fuel that. Self-talk has to fuel that. And because you've already considered your obstacles and solutions, you know within your category of that step what you're going to encounter, you can start populating it with really great ideas that you are going to take seriously in your inner self-talk. People just think, oh, I'm a negative person, or, oh, I can't, this is really hard for me to drum up this stuff. This is your responsibility. This is within your control. This is a massive undertaking for sure, because you're going to be fighting off like the negative swordswomen out there who are trying to come at you in every angle. You've got to have responses to that. And if you want to know about like a couple different critical, amazing tools, we'll tell you that inside the chase. Takes a long time. And man, is it like, it's one of those sessions where we sweat, like it's nuts. Intent. Are you going to do this or not? Literally, are you going to do this or not? A lot of people are like, I set these goals and then I don't do it. I have these New Year's resolutions and then I don't follow through. It's because, were you ever really intending to do it? Or was it just something like, if you put down on paper, if you even mapped out a little bit, that like you were hoping you'd want, right? And this intent is a warm-up. And if I know anything about Brave Enterprises and the way we design our programming, it's always to get you warmed up for the big question at the end, because it makes you have to go all the way back and say, wait a minute, is this the goal I really should be setting right now? Are my guts telling me that I should be setting something different? Am I actually, why? Is my fear uncertainty, or is my fear going after this thing I really, really want, but I'm only saying it now because only now I have room, or because only now I'm really facing my fear, right? Like, we want you to go forward and be like, yeah. Wait, Krista, it just got real deep here. And I need to readjust. That's okay. 2 steps forward, 1 step back means you're building a stronger foundation to step 2 steps forward again. And the last piece of that is purpose, right? It's how I started that sandwich. Purpose is that top bun on your sandwich. Purpose is critical. Why is this important to you? Why is this important to you? Why is this important to you? I get so fired up because people are out here trying to set these big goals and they don't know why it's important to them. They don't know why it's important to them. Why am I repeating myself? Because I'm actually coaching myself at the same time as I'm talking to you. We are the biggest cynics of our own work here at Brave Enterprises. And if there's no time to talk about anything else, then there's time to make sure that, while you are here, that I explain to you just how critical each of these steps is when you're starting to find the silver lining in this opportunity to convert your fear to fuel and actually map and move, which is the action in activating bravery. Why is this important to you, your brave goal? That is going to be your generator when you encounter obstacles. It is going to help generate the self-talk you're going to need to activate those solutions. And it is going to make intent such a dumb question. Am I going to do this? Yes, I'm going to do this. Look at the way I've set myself up here for success. I'm not going to get too crazy on all this stuff. I am interested in you guys putting your brave goals, if you're willing to share them publicly, because here's goal setting science 101. If you say that you have your goal, if you say your goal out loud, then it increases your chance of staying in pursuit and ultimately achieving it. If you write it down, if you identify obstacles, that's critical. And if you map out a plan, there are so many ways that you can maximize your your pursuit of this brave goal. We have so many opportunities to use technology that we didn't before. So many people are using technology, and we want to use our technology based on or using our technology to be able to provide you so much more insight into yourself and into science-based and data-driven ways that actually propel personal transformation. And that is what we are calling the chase. This is where we dig deep. We do a whole week on gossip, what we just talked about for 15 minutes. I want to see if people are willing to put their goals into the chat. And if you're not able to get in the chat right now because you are driving, or because your kids are also playing, or if you're also at work right now, everybody's multitasking at the moment, then say it out loud. Start to say it out loud. If when we hang up from this Zoom webinar that it's churning in your head, start saying it out loud, even if no one else is in the room. It sounds different to your ear. It sounds different to your heart. It matches your purpose or not when it gets said out loud. We've got somebody here, stay as organized as possible with collecting myself each evening with what I aim to do the next day. I love that because it is a small segment of time. What we have right now, what we can control, is setting ourselves up for the next day, taking all that information in again that next day to apply it the following day, right? It's insight in that moment, and it's mapping out a plan to move. Create online programs for teens, personal development. I love it. Since everything is changing so fast, it makes me feel like I have some control, even if the morning is different than the evening before. Yes. I think everybody is out here snapping for that as a way to do it. I want to be able to offer you $100 off of a code through Sunday only. If you use the code ACTIVATE for the chase, it's $2.99. You would get it for $1.99. We have women joining on this in droves. I'll talk about this for our time remaining. There are live sessions once a week. You get worksheets every single week. Content is released on Fridays. There are instructional videos that help you get through those worksheets in your own time, on demand. There are tons of supportive materials around their data and research that we have at Brave that's relevant to your pursuit of your Brave goal. We have a chaser community that is so engaged, and this time we're running the chase, you get a personal Brave guide. You get somebody to check in with you once a week. If that's via text, if that's via phone, if that's via Zoom, then we want to be here for you. There's an optional text message sequence that you can get that it's sort of like we let the universe decide when that stuff is being delivered to you. Not really, we plan it out, but who knows what day you're having when our pre-planned text is going to you. And that's not reminders of webinars or course stuff. It is just stuff to lighten your day and to fill your now like lifeline devices to make sure you're feeling supported. If there's anybody on this webinar who's done the chase, I'd love for you to share in the comments your experiences. We have so much information to give. We couldn't possibly give it in even 6 30-minute webinars. This is what we have been working on as a company for so long, to include the data and research on young girls and what's happening to their confidence and bravery. What we knew to be our biggest fear was failure. Now we're making room for all these new fears. Our biggest fear to be failure. Now we're making room for all these new, very sudden, very unique and pervasive fears to make sure we can build this army of women who are fortified, right? Who come out of this having used this time to densify, to fortify, to understand more about who they are, and to use all of that to go after what they want. I have never been more excited for a time to connect with people than now in times of crisis. I think that bravery, well, I know that bravery is the antidote to fear. And most importantly, I know that our stuff works because I use it on myself every day. Because no matter what, I am not a doubter, I am a cynic, a healthy cynicism. I am constantly wondering, Like, can this make me better? And I'm grabbing as many things as I can from many places I can to influence and apply in my own life. I want to grow. We want to grow. That is what we are here to do. I'd love for you to join us on the chase. Share this with your communities if you feel like, I want to do this with my book club. I want to do this with my siblings. The whole last time we did the chase, I did it with all 4 of my sisters and my mother. And we had amazing conversations at night. We weren't going to be in person, so we did it all online. And that was way before this pandemic. So I challenge you, I charge you to invest in yourself over this next 2 to 3 uncertain months and join us on the chase. Use the code ACTIVATE to get $100 off and share it with your communities. I appreciate your time today. Activate your bravery. Gossip. That's our plan. Goal, obstacle, solution, self-talk, intent, and purpose. Bye for now.